Well, the significance is across a couple of different places. This is a bipartisan bill. It's one that my friend Grace Meng and I have introduced together, me from the Republican side of the aisle, her from the Democratic side of the aisle. It's significant because the Congress is driven by the American people. She has a very wonderful and vibrant Korean American population in her district, as do I in my district. And so we hear about this issue from families. Time is not on our side on this issue. We're talking about almost 100,000 folks who have been separated and now in their 70s, in their 80s, in their 90s. Like so many things in Congress, it just takes a committed group of men and women helping to push this forward. We were able on the committee to move this bill forward. We've been working with our friends on the Senate side to find Senate partners to move the language forward. If you don't happen to have a wonderful Korean American population in your district, as I do, as Grace does, you might not have heard about this issue. So our biggest challenge isn't that anyone opposes this language. At our core, we all believe in families and believe in helping families stay together. But folks just haven't heard about the issue. And so we're going door to door to make sure that we do get those votes. And my hope is we'll be able to have it be so popular, we can actually put it on our suspension calendar, which is a special congressional calendar that we use for issues that Congress has come together to speak with one voice on. Well, certainly we've seen a level of engagement from this administration that we've never seen from an American administration before. From the first visit between an American president and the North Korean leader to the work on returning the remains of U.S. servicemen who had been separated from their families now for these many decades. Human rights is always going to be a critically important issue. We see this in the State Department's work. I see it in all of the closed-door meetings. But I do know that I expect greater results with greater levels of involvement. And my expectations for peace on the peninsula have never been higher. And with that peace on the peninsula comes the respect for human rights that you and I both believe is so important. I still remain very optimistic. The kinds of humanitarian work that the Divided Family Reunification Act aims to do, I put hand in hand with those conversations about nuclear tensions. That while the rhetoric is very strong coming out of North Korea, that some of the work we're doing here in Congress to make a difference for families will soften some of those hearts and have a ancillary impact on those denuclearization conversations. Well, two answers to that. Number one is we're going to keep doing what we're doing here on Capitol Hill. That's working together, that's prioritizing human rights, that's insisting on denuclearization and a safer, not just peninsula, but a safer globe. We'll continue that leadership as we can here on Capitol Hill. But it also means having strong partnerships with South Korea. That has always been one of the most important relationships. Forcing peace on a country rarely succeeds. Creating an environment where a leader can choose peace is where we've seen global success. The partnership between South Korea and the United States of America is creating an environment for North Korea to accept peace, accept security, not just for its country, but food security, water security, economic security for its people as well. What we really have are our governments following what they believe is the best interest for national and international security. I recognize the pressure that the South Korean government experiences from those families that don't want to wait for sanctions to work. They don't want to wait for tomorrow. They want reunification today. I also recognize the feelings of not just the Trump administration, but leaders around the globe, that isolating North Korea is going to bring it to the negotiating table at a more rapid pace. What we do with our Divided Family Reunification Act is direct the State Department for the first time to prioritize these family reunifications. So far from this being a tension between the South Korean government and the United States government, with our act in Congress, we hope to pursue the very same goals that the South Korean government has in providing these reunification opportunities. With the passage of the law and the direction of the State Department to prioritize this, there are a variety of different ways that could manifest itself. But the tension between economic sanctions and family visitation will be a non-issue. This is a limited number of families, though again, as many as 100,000. We're not talking about an economic boost for North Korea. We're talking about a familial bond and benefit from bringing these families together. I am absolutely confident that we have an opportunity to see a softening, a thawing of relations between North Korea and the United States that stems directly from bringing these families back together. The sharing of those stories and the sharing of those bonds, it's not just good for the peninsula. Again, I believe it's good for the safety and security of the world. The difference between talking about the issue and doing something about the issue will be the passage of this legislation across the floor of the House. So Grace Ming and I are going to continue to go door to door to make sure that folks understand the issue and are willing to support the issue. Again, this isn't something that divides the Congress philosophically. It just has to compete with all the other issues that Congress is dealing with. I do believe it's a priority. Grace believes it's a priority, and together we're going to bring our colleagues together and push it across the floor of the House to make it that law of the land.